Rising food costs are a product of so many situations. My guest walks us through the murky waters of Nigeria's food production chain. In our focus on the Federal Capital Territory, we look at the FCT administration's plans to make agriculture attractive to young Nigerians like myself, as well as investors. And as we do every week, we have our Abuja wrap. This is Dateline Abuja. Hello and welcome to Dateline Abuja. I am Kayla Megwa. Let's begin by giving you a rundown of the major stories from the nation's capital.
For 2 days, President Muhammadu Buhari gathered members of his cabinet to review their performance in the last 2 years. There were presentations from the President of the African Development Bank, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, the Director General of the World Trade Organization, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, and the Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations, Mrs. Amina Mohammed.
In our continuing drive to ensure accountability, we have incorporated a performance management framework into the functions of the Central Delivery Coordination Unit for ease of tracking of the ministerial deliverables along the lines of the 9 priority areas of this administration. This initiative has provided me the opportunity to track the performance of all ministries and, by extension, this administration. This process has been in effect since January 2021, and today it gives me great pleasure to unveil the performance management system and dashboard to track projects in real time with live data and early warning system to proactively resolve bottlenecks.
President Buhari has issued a directive to ministries, departments and agencies to give priority to indigenous professionals in planning, design and execution of national projects. He gave the directive when he met and inaugurated the Presidential Monitoring and Evaluation Council for the full implementation of the Executive Order 5.
The MDAs shall engage indigenous professionals in the planning, design and execution of national projects. Consideration shall only be given to foreign professionals where it is certified by the appropriate authority that such expertise is not available in Nigeria.
The President also met with the head of the United Nations Development Programme Regional Bureau for Africa, and their conversation centered on rehabilitation of internally displaced persons, youthful engagement as well as technology.
We have identified 5 areas where this opportunity must be exploited. The first is in the youth, empowering the youth and tapping into their dynamism, which we see very much in this country. The second is all the lessons we have learned from COVID-19 and how we institutionalize that, including areas of social protection. The third is the digital technology, which has become quite a game changer in the way we do development and gives us a tool to accelerate development so we go faster rather than the slow pace that we currently experience.
The President also received in audience the founder of Citadel Global Community Church, Pastor Tunde Bakari. The meeting was held behind closed doors at the State House.
National Assembly has done, especially the Senate, because with that, Nigerians can vote. And then the results can be transmitted so easily. Not only that, part of the State of the Nation address that I did on October 10, I emphasized how Nigerian youth, especially undergraduates, are disenfranchised in our country. 22.3 million students are registered, but during election, campuses are shut. They will not be able to return there to vote. They are therefore disenfranchised. If we can do not just transmitting results, but to be able to vote electronically, that would be wonderful. It would deepen and enhance our democracy.
The President also received a delegation from the Chartered Insurance Institute of Nigeria, who conferred him as the Grand Patron of the Institute.
I want to urge you to further increase the number of Nigerians and businesses that would benefit from and be benefited by the insurance industry.
The Deputy Governor of Anambra State, Mr. Nkem Okeke, has defected to the ruling All Progressives Congress APC. He was received by the President, who commended his courage to join the party.
The important thing is that we are making people to understand that we are working for greater Nigeria. So you are welcome, and I respect your courage for taking decisions. You know, for you to come out courageously, bring along your supporters, and explain to the rest of people that this is the best direction for your geopolitical zone, this is the best position for you. I respect your courage, and I congratulate you, and I welcome you to the party.
The President also received Governor Godwin Obaseki of Edo State, who insists that he has no plans to return to the All Progressives Congress APC. He also states that he is in the State House to appeal to the federal government to provide funds for those in private business to set up branches in the state.
I didn't leave the other party on my own. I was pushed out of the party, and someone else gave me cover, gave me an opportunity. It will not be the right thing to do to now leave the person who helped you, who gave you the umbrella in your storm, and then go back to the person who pushed you out. I am one of those people who believe that we cannot and should not have elections in this country going into the future without transmitting results electronically from the polling units. Because for elections to be credible, they have to be seen as transparent. Since the people of Edo would rather invest privately, those who are interested want to make it a private concern, then the National Livestock Transformation Program, which is now being implemented by the federal government, should acknowledge our model and should also be able to help Edo people benefit from the funding that is now being made available for people who want to go into the livestock business and make investments in ranches and other similar livestock programs.
The Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, presided over the National Economic Council meeting in the State House. The virtual meeting was held behind closed doors. Federal lawmakers have commenced debate on the general principles of the 2022 proposed budget. The bill scaled second reading in both chambers, and various committees are now considering the details of the budget with ministries, departments and agencies. The federal government has set a deadline of December 1 for civil servants to take the COVID-19 vaccine. The chairman of the Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19, Mr. Boss Mustafa, announced this at a briefing on Wednesday in Abuja. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Rabo, has confirmed that the leader of the Islamic State West African Province ISWAP jihadist group, Abu Musa al-Barnawi, is dead. He gave the confirmation during the weekly ministerial briefing at the State House.
I can authoritatively confirm to you that Al-Barnawi is dead. As simple as that.
The Federal Capital Territory Administration says it is implementing programs aimed at making agriculture attractive to the populace and investors, particularly in the agricultural value chain development. We bring you a report on the second edition of the Agri-Business Innovation Conference and Exhibition.
The Federal Capital Territory has large expanse of arable land that has a potential for farmers to support the growth of a wide range of crops in large quantities, which will help boost the country's food supply and agricultural exports. The Federal Capital Territory Administration says it is implementing programs aimed at making agriculture attractive to the populace and investors, particularly in the areas of agricultural value chains development. The second edition of the Agribusiness Innovation Conference and Expo presents an opportunity for farmers to showcase the products of their farms. The FCT administration is using the conference to woo more people to explore farming opportunities in the nation's capital.
The FCT is not just about infrastructural development. The FCT has also been giving due attention to the agricultural sector in order to meet the needs of the growing population of the FCT with food and nutrition. We have in this regard been implementing programs that aim at making agri attractive to the populace and investors, particularly in the areas of agricultural value chain development. FCT is blessed with abundant resources for agribusiness development. The availability of vast arable land and rich water resources present viable opportunity for both primary production and value addition in crops, livestock, fisheries subsectors.
The FCT covers an area of 8,000 kilometers square. Within this 8,000 kilometers square, an area of 250 square kilometer has been earmarked as the FCC. What this means is that FCC is occupying a little percentage of the entire territory of FCT. What do we intend to do with the large expanse that remains? We look forward to a massive development of agriculture and agricultural enterprises.
As part of measures to address specific areas of need towards the provision of effective and robust agricultural support, particularly in the aspect of input and extension services, the FCT administration has begun the process of updating database of farmers and all agriculture-related institutions in the territory.
The administration has this end directed the Agriculture and Rural Development Secretariat, which is the arm of administration that coordinates the implementation of agricultural programs to ensure that our programs accommodate the youth and women population. Furthermore, we have begun the process of updating our database of farmers and all agri-related institutions in the Federal Capital Territory. This is to enable us to address specific areas of need towards the provision of effective and robust agricultural support services, particularly in the aspects of inputs and extension services. In our efforts to upgrade agriculture and infrastructure, we have embarked on the rehabilitation of old facilities, while efforts are being made to establish new ones.
The FCT administration is adopting several strategies to overcome the challenges. Some of them include the Accelerated Agricultural Development Scheme, the National Agricultural Land Development Authority, the National Livestock Transformation Plan, amongst others. However, the emergence of security in rural communities of the nation's capital is posing a major threat to food security in the FCT.
My guest on the program is architect Kabir Ibrahim, the president of the All Farmers Association of Nigeria. Being a farmer himself, he knows firsthand what the challenges are. According to him, farmers are a priority for the Buhari administration. However, rising food costs, middlemen, insecurity, climate change, and the need to resuscitate the National Food Reserve Agency are crucial for agricultural growth. Architect Kabir, welcome to Dateline Abuja.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so the Nigerian person who's listening to this program or has been listening to the news in the past few months has been hearing things like inflation, cost of food just keeps going up. All he knows is that when I go to the market and I'm trying to buy things to eat, it costs me a lot more than it did some time back. What is the real state of food production in the country? Just so the Nigerian can understand what's going on.
Well, there are many threats to food production. Over the last 1.5 years, COVID-19 is a very real and serious threat to everything in life. We have a new normal. You know, in the beginning, when COVID was new, the farmers could not even be allowed to take anything out from the city to the farm. We had to plead. Mr. President saw it, saw things our way, and allowed a task force to be set. And then we were able to go to the farms. Now, in the northeast, there was Boko Haram. Everybody thought it was only Boko Haram. But you see now in the northwest, we have a lot of banditry, kidnapping, and people are being chased from their farms. People cannot go to their farms. Now, unless you go to the farm, you cannot produce sufficiently to feed the 200 million mouths in Nigeria today. So there are many, many threats. And then, of course, we had flooding. And then we have had problems that we have been living with. We have very low mechanization. This year, the farmers did not have fertilizer as we had last year from the presidential fertilizer initiative. So many of these things compounded the issue of production. Now, when you go to the rising prices of everything in Nigeria, there are also many reasons why this should happen. Not only food, many other things they have the same fate, because our naira, the purchasing power of our naira is dwindling. Everybody knows the exchange rate now in the black market is 580 or so. In the bank is about 531 or so, thereabout. So these are all the reasons that probably compound this issue. But the farmers, are working seriously to make sure that we attain food security at some point. But our major challenges are security. Insecurity is so bad that people go to the farms and nobody says they are there until he or she sees them. Is Nigeria facing a food crisis from a farmer's perspective? I wouldn't say no. I say no. We are not yet facing a crisis as such. Because so what are the things, what are the indices we can use to know if we're facing a food crisis or not? When people are clearly malnourished, when you see children looking very skinny, and people like you, instead of eating 3 meals, you eat 1, things like that. These things are happening already, they're just not caught on camera. What I will tell you now is, there is food, but it is costly. Now there is food, but it is costly. A food crisis would mean that there's no food at all? That's what it means. You have your money, but you can't get the food. That is when you really have a crisis. But the food system globally is being challenged. If you notice, on the 23rd of September, the UN formally launched the Food System Dialogue or Summit. This is global, because if you go to the United States or even the UK, you see people lining up, in food banks, trying to get food and all that. We don't have food banks in Nigeria, that's why you don't have these lines. But nobody is saying that there is a food crisis in the UK, for instance. There are some problems in the food system, but this is global, it's not only Nigeria. The situation in rural areas, it's interesting. Whenever I meet farmers, I always want to tell them something I used to hear when I was growing up, and that is that Nigeria is a farm country. Well, is this true? No. Are the bulk of the people in the rural areas in Nigeria, are the bulk of them farmers? Because that's what I grew up hearing, that we are a farming country. That's true. You see, I'm happy that you identified farming with rural. It's because farming takes place in the rural areas. Farming doesn't take place in Abuja, in urban centers, yeah. So people who move around here with their briefcases and say they are farmers, they are not farmers. No, the farmers are in the states, are in the villages. It's a rural activity. Yes. Even in England, you go to rural England, that's where the farming is. Even in the US. Well, even the US. Is the government giving it the kind of attention it needs? Because we just mentioned the UK and the US. The governments in those countries are very, very serious about their farming communities. No, even policy-wise, making things available to ensure that these clusters of farmers are able to, bring the best, and they're able to export what the country is going to earn from. Do we have that same kind of attention given to farmers in Nigeria? Hitherto, we had policy somersaults. There would be policy today. If another administration comes in, it just changes it. That's the bane of the progress in agriculture. A lot of money has been put on so many things. We have had so many projects, we have had so many things, and they are institutionalized. It is only recently that we have certain things happening that are not yet institutionalized. I will give you real examples. Even the intervention of the CBN is not institutionalized. It depends on the whims and caprices of the man at the top.
It was a response, basically, to a crisis situation.
Not a crisis situation, I think an agenda. This government thought it would make agriculture the alternative to oil. That's why they came up with agriculture promotion policy. They called it green alternative. When it was launched, the CBN keyed into it, and I was in the entourage that escorted the president to launch it formally, the Ankobroa program in Kebbi with 2.6 billion. And then, of course, the rest is history, it's several billions down the line. But it is not yet institutionalized. It should be put in a place where agriculture is run. You know, not where you do these things in ad hoc. There are many other windows that have been opened now. All we need to do is to be able to synergize among all those, and then we will get there. Now, as far as Nigeria is concerned now, during this period, during this Buhari period or regime or administration, agriculture is in the front burner. There is a lot of money that has been put in agriculture, and a lot of people are interested in farming. Young people like you are continuously calling me, wanting to join our association and become farmers. So what we need to do is to harness what is there now and work assiduously to feed our growing population. Because the population is increasing, and by about 2050 will be almost 400 million. So now we are 200 million, and you are alluding to a crisis. What will happen when we get to that number? So we have to work seriously. We need to mechanize. We need to do a lot of research. You mentioned drought resistant and flood resistant and some insect resistant seeds. Some of them GMOs, some of them just hybrid and all that. We need to work and put the research findings in practice to be able to really get to food security proper, so that we will have it sustainably. Because food security is not a stopgap thing. It's supposed to be there for all time. That's why people are able to think outside the box. Go to the moon, for instance. If your stomach is not filled up, you can't think in terms of going out of your house. So this is what we hope for.
Akita Kabiru, thank you so much for being with us on Dateline Abuja, and good luck with all that you do.
You are welcome. Thank you very much too.
Thanks to my guest, Architect Kabiru, for the insights today on the program. When you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. It's become the bane of our existence as a people, not just government, people, reacting to situations instead of planning in anticipation of the situation. The Buhari administration has made agriculture its priority. This is true. A sustained effort to ensure this sector, which has the potential to give us more income than oil, becomes productive and thrives, is crucial to Nigeria's economic development, more now than ever. That's Dateline Abuja this week. Please let us know the happenings in your neighborhood using the social media handles showing right now on your screen. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Kayla Magwa. See you next time.